All right, we are recording. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining Lead the Way Wednesday. This is Kristen Webb, your leadership enthusiast. And I'm so excited that you all are joining me on today. And I have a special guest on with me today. Um, I got to start over almost. I'm not going to start over, but I was really supposed to come on and be like, hi, my name is Kristen Webb.
Oh,
I
real
am your
nice.
leadership enthusiast. That was the goal. And I was going to come on with this really kind of sultry, warm voice, um,
Jill Scott swag. I
Jill
feel you.
Scott swag. And the reason I was going to do that because I have the massage therapist, Samuel Nelson,
There
business
you
owner,
go.
leadership extravaganzas. And he may not remember it. The way I met you was a previous company I worked for. You were
Mm-hmm.
doing massages, corporate massage therapist. You were doing a session, and I
Mm-hmm.
never forgot you. I was like, man, he's got like a personality on him, and he make you feel all comfortable, and he cracking jokes, and he need to quit with the jokes. But no, I'm kidding. I'm
I
kidding.
know.
But you were really engaging in that way. And so when we talked about you coming on the podcast, I really started thinking about how important your industry is. And so let me circle back, y'all, because I've gotten all the way into the conversation. I said again, Samuel Nelson on here with me today with Massage on the Go. And I'm excited. That's why I'm just rambling. I'm excited to have you on. And
Thank you for having me.
absolutely, absolutely. So let me stop, shut up. I've kind of given away all the secrets and stories already, but yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself, Sam.
Well, I'm Samuel Nelson. Grew up in the Bethel Grove, Orange Mound area. I am a strong advocate of colleges for knowledge, but trade to get you paid. So I went to college for biochemical engineering. Didn't finish, left there and went to massage school. And then I'm, bumps and bruises. And about 25, 24, I walked out on faith and started with 3 massage therapists. And as of today, I have contracted over 550 therapists nationwide. Um, I'm also a minister. I like to cook, and it's just me.
That's a lot. That's just me. I just rolled off, this really dynamic resume, but that's just me,
Just
I'm
me.
not
I
mad at
try
you
to stay humble.
about it.
You say what?
I say I'm not mad at you about it. Not mad.
Thank you, thank you,
But
thank
like
you,
you
thank
said, gotta stay humble. Gotta stay humble. That's important.
you. Mm-hmm,
All right,
mm-hmm.
so we're gonna kick it off. The first thing I always like to ask, and I never pose this question ahead of time. Give me in one word, if you were the last leader on earth and you had one leadership trait that you could possess, what would that leadership trait be and why?
Be a student at all times until called upon by God to be a leader. But at that time, remain a student, being taught how to be a leader along the way.
Mm,
If you want to be a leader, you have to learn how to lead. And once you start leading, you have to learn how to adjust to continue to lead. And
mm,
that's what I feel a lot of people, entrepreneurs or people in leadership, once they get into leadership positions, they become stagnant. Things that are stagnant die. So you always have to adjust and learn from the people that are in the field. So if you started off baking the cakes and cooking pies and selling chicken, and then you move to somebody else cooking the chicken, and then you manage, and then you move from managing just owning it. You still need to go in and talk to the managers. You still need to go in and talk to the person that's cooking the chicken, because you still have to stay A, relatable with the people that work for you, and B, relatable to the customers. If you're not listening to those people, your company will fail.
oh, I love it. I love it. And I promise, audience, I did not give him this question beforehand, but I'm gonna tell you one thing that I agree with you in that a lot of people feel like once you make that role, once you get that title, get that position, like that's it. I don't have to, go back to school. I don't have to get the cert, or I don't have to tap into my team so I can learn from them,
Right.
so that I can keep growing. But I always like to call myself a little nerd,
Yeah.
because
I'm
I'm
an
always
information junkie.
always like, okay, what's out there next for me? Who do I need to talk to? Who do I need to have mentor me, so that I can keep just, soaking up knowledge?
Right.
Because I'm always concerned about being behind the eight ball, not being
Right.
at
Right.
speed, and how am I going to be effective without making sure that I'm knowledgeable. And you do that by that consistent practice of being a student. So I
Be a
like that.
student
I like
and have a daily routine. And a daily routine is very, very important.
it.
Because a man without a plan plans to fail. So you have to have a daily routine.
And if I had my sounds, I meant to tell you, you almost made me get up at my seat at the beginning when you started telling my student I was about to do a little, yeah, I was about to do a little dance. Because seriously, I mean that's good stuff right there. So what made you want to actually move into leadership and want to own your own company and lead a team?
Well, that goes back to my upbringing. My father is from Somerville. My mother is from Lick Skillet, Mississippi, and Aberdeen, Mississippi. So I grew up around people that were all quote unquote hustlers, and then entrepreneurs. And the only thing different is the words. That's the only thing that's different. And entrepreneurs pay taxes. That's the only thing that's different. But so Mr. Harville, Mr. Hill across the street owned a construction company. Mr. Harville down the street, he owned no, Mr. Hill owned concrete. Mr. Harville owned construction. Then there was a guy down the street, he owned an automobile like repair shop. When I was walking around, my parents worked. And then my father always complained about, if he could have got fired or if the company closed. So since I was like 10, I started hustling. I was selling candy at Sherwood. I started cutting yards. And when I got into college, I realized that I really didn't want to work for nobody. And I was sitting on my mother's couch and we was watching, me and my mom and dad was sitting there and we watching VH1 and there was a black guy on there and he was a massage therapist and he was booked for the next 6 months and he was charging $150 an hour. And I was sitting there scratching my head like, I can do this. And I literally got up the next day and went to massage school. So my whole life is a direct reflection of faith. So I just got up and went, didn't know nothing about running the business, didn't know nothing about massages, nothing about leadership. And everybody I knew that owned the business, I took the lunch. And I just asked them a whole bunch of questions. And that's how I, continue to grow the company.
So asking questions, I'm still hearing that theme of student in there.
You have to be.
Yeah, yeah. And you tapped on family. You said, being around your family or your extended family, watching the people in the neighborhood. Back in the day, people in the neighborhood were family, not so much now. But when you talk about family and leading and leadership, do you feel like leading an organization is different from leading a family?
It is and it ain't.
Okay.
I have more compassion with my blood family than I do with people I pay. And I call them family and I call them team, but at the same time, we need to make that ching ching. That's all I'm saying. But and I don't put my money in I always say, don't put your money and your honey in the same pot because it becomes a sticky situation.
Right.
So I try to keep my friends, my family is my family, and my coworkers, my coworkers. So I try to separate those three.
So here's a quick question I just thought about. When since you came up with the word student, how do you apply that with family? How do you feel like being a student in your leadership? Because we're leading families. How do you feel like that relates to family?
Well, you being a student, you have to learn your family. My mother's patience, my father's patience or lack of patience, my brother, older brother, his kids, learning them. So you being a student of the personalities of the people that you are in their family. So you know how to move around these certain people or know what they gonna do. You throw a potluck, you know which cousin ain't gonna bring nothing. They gonna show up, they gonna complain, and they gonna leave with 5 plates because they habits. You know who gonna do what.
Yep. That's good. So what are some of the biggest challenges you've experienced so far? It sounds like, what did you say, since 10 you've been doing this, but been leading in some way. But what do you feel like your biggest challenge has been?
It goes back to the lack of knowledge. See, if I feel like if I knew more starting off and not making it more racial because it's not the more I learn about other races, the stereotype of the white home teaches their kids finances. Nah, it's poor white folks, it's poor Asian folks, it's poor Asian whatever. It's just the lack of knowledge in this day and age. That's an excuse that nobody should have, because you have the encyclopedia, the dictionary, and everything in the palm of your hand. So if you want to know it, just ask Google and search for it, and you can find it. So that's mainly the thing. Knowing what I know now, then I would have been a billionaire by now. Yeah.
So what do you think has been your biggest strength?
The pursuit of knowledge. Because I want to learn more. I'm not, my biggest strength is my biggest weakness, because I will jump and figure out how to fly while I'm falling. Other people sit around and say, well, I got to figure out how to fly before I jump. Well, if I seen 4 people jump and fly, I figure I can figure it out before I hit the ground. That's how I feel.
Right,
so,
right.
So I take that chance and jump.
Sounds good. And it goes back to also what you're talking about your faith. You know what I mean? That's kind of what's been pushing you and leading you. So what type of legacy do you want your leadership to look like?
I really just want to know, I want kids to know, I want people to know that if you want it, you can have it. That's all it is. If whatever you want to do in life, you can do it, unless it's a physical challenge. Now, if you born 4 feet tall, you ain't finna dunk a basketball. Physically impossible. But if it's a mental thing and something that's really attainable, only thing that's stopping you is you. The only thing that stops you is you.
So let's switch gears right quick. This is what I want to talk about. And for the record, I'm not getting a free massage behind this, even though I have had a massage by Mr. Nelson before, and they're wonderful. But for our listeners, let's talk about, massage and physical relaxation and resetting and how important that is and how that is maybe even tied to being an effective leader.
Yes, touch is very important. Touch is, did you have another? I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead, jump on.
Yeah, touch is very important. The Bible says the woman with the issue of blood, when she touched the hem of his garment, he was made whole. And when Jesus, God, and the Holy Ghost came down, they touched man and formed us in his own image. So touch is very, very important. Scientifically, touch takes 30 minutes. The first touch supposedly takes your body 30 minutes to digest it. Most people in the 5 love languages, they touch. They all have intimate touch, and touching sometimes lead to reproduction of babies. And touch is very, very important. But massage itself is very important, because a lot of people don't realize how much stress is affecting their body. Everybody metabolize stress differently, but the common thing is having shoulder, neck pains, and a lack of bowel movements. A lot of people have shoulder pain, neck pain, and a lack of bowel because their intestines lock up when they're stressed out, or they can't sleep good because they're stressed out. The common thing we hear a lot is when a person lay down to get a massage, there's 2 things we hear. The first one make me laugh. 20 minutes into the massage, everybody asks, so did you go to school for this? And I was actually, you asked that before you got a complete stranger and you undressed and got on the table, and now you naked and you asking me, am I a professional? Should you ask that before?
Should you have already Googled that beforehand?
Right, right. But for the record, massage therapists in the state of Tennessee are licensed healthcare providers. So we have to take a national certification. We are licensed and bonded, insured, and all this. But the other part of that is, every time I massage a person, they always say, I didn't know that part hurt. I didn't know that was tight. So they didn't know that they was holding stress in that area. And a lot of people are walking around with high blood pressure, anxiety, stress, and things of that nature. And they're so used to being in this stressful situation, they don't even know how to relax. And even God on the 7th day said, but some of us want to be bigger than God. We keep moving. So we got to sit down.
On the 8th day.
You work on the 8th day.
No. But I get your point. We do. We go, and don't stop.
And I'm guilty of it. Now I take off on Mondays, and I really try to focus on taking off on Monday. I don't cook. Well, I usually cook on Sundays, but I try not to do anything on Monday but
Okay.
late still.
So have you seen a direct correlation from, I know you work with a lot of corporations. And so when I think about corporations, I think about executives or, those people that may be in leadership roles. Have you seen like really huge, or are there statistics that go with, massages and, performance?
Yeah, my first selling point, my first two selling point is the back in the early 2000s when I started, the best coffee break as a massage was my selling point at first. And then save money, reduce stress, improve productivity was my other PowerPoint that I used to show companies. And it's proven that the human brain, after 45 minutes to an hour, it started becoming redundant working on the same thing. If you ever worked in corporate America, you're trying to get all these emails out and then you start misspelling the word the, or you misspell why or something like that. But because you need to get up and walk away every 45 minutes to let your brain reset. Excuse me. But we don't. It's even like Amazon. Amazon got these people on a timer. Soon as their order get in, they got to rush. So you never get a chance to relax throughout your work schedule.
Okay. And you're right. I mean, sometimes, and well, first I'm guilty for not taking the break, and just doing, but then I've stressed in my teams before, in the past, look, when you're, finding yourself in a stressful moment, get up, walk away, and just come back when you have, taken a breath, and get a chance to
Mhm.
kind of make that physical release that needs to be made.
Yeah,
So,
if you look at these huge companies, Google, corporate office, and other huge companies like that, they have a sleep room. They have massage rooms, full-time massage therapists. And my company was actually growing leaps and bounds in the last 3 years. That's how I started growing so fast. We had a contract with Gerber Food, and we was doing them every quarter, all 8 different states. New World Travel, you have more uh, um, Baptist corporate office, just a lot of different companies were implementing massage therapy, yoga, and stress management. Because of the statistics, like you said, are showing people committing suicide or things of that nature because of their stress level.
That's tough. That's tough. So let's switch. We're gonna switch gears again because I'm always
Okay.
switching. Have you always seen yourself as a leader?
Um, no.
Hmm.
And that's why I went back to I'm just me, and so just so happened me being me ended up being a leader, and I didn't know I was a leader. I was just trying to be the best Sam, and just so happened people start following and looking at Sam. So I didn't see myself leading a nation, leading a company, anything. Like I have cousins called me yesterday, a few of them asked me when I'm gonna run for office and all that type of stuff. I'm like, I'm not gonna do all that. That's too much exposure. But but but
Facts.
no, I didn't see myself being a leader like this. I just felt my ultimate goal in life is to wake up, kiss my wife, take my kids to school, come home, talk to my wife. That's all I want to do. But in order for me to do that, I have to make money because I really don't want to work. I just want to make the money. So I'm figuring out ways to make more money so I won't have to work.
Right.
So, but until then, I'm gonna put in that work. But to answer your question, I didn't see myself being a leader. I just became a leader because it was time for me to lead. So
So do you enjoy leading?
I do.
Since you
I
didn't
do.
necessarily volunteer for, and maybe we're more thrusted into it because people saw that influence in you. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. You do.
Well, the thing about it, because again, I try to work on my stress management and my anxiety. So I don't call myself the boss or the captain or the coach. I just call myself a teammate, and therefore my teammates follow the lead that I'm leading by. And the best way to do it is to live the life that you're trying to lead. So most people would be able to see my leadership through the life that I live.
So let's dig into teams a little bit.
Okay.
Um, and I'm smiling because always when I teach on change management and leadership, I talk about there are two main components to change management. And there are all these subsets to both of them, but you got your human and you got your non-human component.
Mhm.
And the question I always pose is, which one is easier to manage, your human or your non-human? And you'd be surprised how many people say the human piece is the easiest to manage. And I always say, no, it's the non-human. It's the software. It's the policy, the system. That's always the easiest to me because I can tell it to shut up or turn off. I don't have
Thank
to
you.
care about their feelings.
Thank you.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
But since teams, and people and humans are the other component, what's been one of the most challenging things you've experienced that ended up being successful because of the way you engage with a team member? Maybe it was a disgruntled team member, maybe someone who wasn't performing as well. What did you do to get that person either through it or find a replacement? One of the two.
See, this goes back to me being family, friend, and business. When it comes down to business, I really don't take time to figure out your issues
Okay.
because I'm paying you nice to do
Mm-hmm.
this job.
Mm-hmm.
And within me paying you nice, I'm going to ask you twice, do you have a problem with this assignment? Can you show up on time? Because everybody works with an independent contract. So
Okay.
you technically work for yourself. But I'm going to ask you, if you show up late twice and you don't give me a good excuse, you go.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I don't have to fire you. I just don't call you no more. So it's just, it's just
Right.
that.
Right.
But I have had people locally that I know more personally because I'm soft-hearted if I know you. I know what's going on. I know your kid or your car situation or whatever. And with that, I try to tell them to think ahead. Because I had one therapist told me she overslept. And my reply was, you must be rich. And she was like, what you mean? I said, rich people sleep in. We can't sleep in. We got to go get this money. So,
Right.
but it's just like that. And I had one therapist, he said something out of line and I waited till he was by himself and we was alone and then I talked to him and I told him what happened and how to handle that going forward.
Okay.
But I do that. I had an issue in Florida, a therapist compliment. I wasn't even there, but a therapist complimented this lady that lost a whole lot of weight and she felt like it was inappropriate. And then so I sent everybody that he massaged $100 gift card to go do whatever they want. And whoever listen to this, don't complain and think you're gonna get $100 gift card. But but that
Right. Right.
particular situation, right?
Put it
And
this
then I
time.
talked to him, and then from there I never send men to that account. I only send women there to avoid this situation going forward.
Good deal. So so I was waiting for it. I was like, he can't be firing everybody. He won't have the 500 plus.
No, no, no.
Yeah, I mean, but so I'm hearing the coaching. I'm hearing the
Right.
coaching that you do, which is important. Because as much as sometimes as leaders we'd like to write off, that person. You hired them because there are some qualities obviously that matched up with the org, and you want that longevity and that retention if you can. So.
Right.
But yeah, but there are instances where it's like, this is too egregious. I got to go. You got to go.
That and somebody, and I know this is gonna sound bad, but you gotta make an example of something. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody keeps crossing you if you don't show like, oh look, bro, we can't, we don't play like that.
Right,
So
right.
it's a way to go about it.
Right.
And then they'll hear about now we can't do that. We can do all this, but we can't do that.
Yeah,
So,
I had a supervisor once share with me 3 things I always do when I'm leading, and that's to be fair, firm, and consistent. And so when you speak to, I can show you better, I can tell you. That's that firmness, that's that being fair, making sure everybody gets the same treatment, but the firmness and like these are the consequences for not adhering to this rule that I laid out for you that you accept
right.
upon your your employment. So good stuff. I always like to you made me kind of think about that when you were talking about teams. So what is it like managing? Sounds like you probably manage a lot remotely. And for a lot of people, unless you're like a Fortune 500, or I think about when I was at FedEx, I was talking to people internationally every day. It was just what I did. I had team members, all over the country, but managing a team, kind of all over the country. What is that like?
It's difficult. The main thing is time zone. And so I remember my first 10-state contract. from Colorado, from California, literally from California to New York. And you know, there's every goddamn time zone. And this one company wanted everybody to start at the same time.
Mm.
And I was sitting like, okay. But to call, you know, I put in systems and I do a reminder text like, hey, you there, let us know when you got there. So I had to go and look at these time zones to make sure that I set this particular text to go out at their time and not my time.
Right.
So that was one. The other thing is some companies want us to set up online internal booking. So say for instance, uh, Google called us and they want massages from 10 to 12 in Australia. So, because we were going international before the corona, but we're saying Arizona. So I had to set this system up, or my assistant would set the system up to be at their time zone and then call their therapist in their area. And all the therapists act different. The ones in New York are cocky. The ones in California are more laid back. The ones in South Carolina laid back. When you got some country twang people, you can't understand nothing they saying. But it's interesting. But it's again, it goes back to developing a strong system, a cookie cutter process, and you just follow their protocol over and over again.
Right. And you made me think, and I won't go too deep, but you know, just you mentioning the difference in your team members based on location or you know, that kind of thing. Like those are things you have to consider when you talk about cultures and experience.
And pay. They all want more money. That's
Mm.
based upon their state. So that means, you know, the reason corporations went with us because we would sell them a package that will cover multiple states. So our selling point was one phone call gets you 500 therapists across the United States.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, therapists want to make more money based upon where they stay at. So as it was harder to adjust those contracts, you know, to make sure that we make a profit and they make a good living.
Gotcha. So let's shift real quick to COVID-19. We're about to head into COVID-20.
Right.
Yeah, hopefully
2021.
no COVID-20, but
Right.
I'm so over it. But what does that look like? What has that looked like for you? What have you learned as a leader
Mm-hmm.
through COVID-19? What is it that you feel like you want to do differently going forward as a leader that was a direct result of, you know, experiencing the pandemic?
Coronavirus bought out the old Sam because, again, I never want to be stagnant, but I was cool moving in the massage lane. But the virus is transmitted by touch. We touch people, and by being more than 6 feet close. You can't get touched if you want to. So I adjusted. I lost $150,000 overall. But what I did, the money I had left, I designed my own line of massage guns, the personal massagers.
I saw those. Yeah.
Yeah, and then from there, I did a deal with a manufacturing company, and I had my own PPE. I had body bags, masks, coronavirus tests, thermostats, whatever you needed, PPE. I can provide that. So I just kept adjusting. Then I got a invention that I made this coronavirus approved, and I'm waiting on that approval of patent. So I just kept adjusting. Being an entrepreneur, when you read the definition, it tells you being able to risk, or what are you willing to risk. And my life is a reflection of risking it all. So that's what I kept doing. Now the return is stretched out. So I'm managing my money as I go along to see the return, but it's there. So I just kept adjusting to every situation.
Gotcha. Sounds like, you know, having to make the intentional choice to be flexible, to be resilient, you know, to not give up.
Right.
'Cause, you know, I can only imagine, because I'll be honest, I'm blessed to be able to still have somewhere that lets me be able to eat sardines every 2 weeks. You know, they
2 weeks.
so I can eat every 2 weeks.
Right.
But I do know, I've just heard the endless stories, be it, you know, first person experiences of people sharing, you know, the kind of strain that has taken place during the virus. and being willing to still push through. That's important, because
Right.
mentally it can become something that keeps you from moving forward, but you got to be willing to kind of push through. And sounds like shift and navigate, and be ready to make that trick move that you need to make. People may didn't
Hey.
see it coming, so.
And you just gotta be a salesman, like I say. And I'm trying to say as humble as I know how. But if I got to, I can sell wet to water, heat to the sun. I just got to do what I got to do. To make sure and keep everything cool, calm, and copacetic at the same time. But I can't fail. Failure is not an option.
Right, right. So here's one. I think this will probably maybe be one of the next to last questions. Um, Giving back. What does that mean to you in leadership? If you do it, how do you do it? If you got plans or advice for anybody else, what's the importance of giving back to others behind you?
Success is not how much you accomplish. Success is how much you help other people accomplish.
Mm.
And that's my definition of true success. So if anybody calls me, and I know a lot of people have inboxed me, called me, bumped into me and say, hey, Sam, I'm trying to do this. How can I do it? I just tell them, I don't charge them a consulting fee or anything like that. Yeah, and then before the corona, schools was calling me like once or twice a month. I talk about colleges for knowledge and trade to get you paid, and I compare and contrast the good things of going to college versus the good things of going to trade school, because both of them are needed. But if you are this type of person, go to trade school. If you are this type of person, go to college. And those are the things that I do. I take my time and I give back as much as I can. Even in my sermons, I try to tell people and encourage people how they can get through.
Good deal. Good deal. So, if you want to leave one nugget, something I haven't asked, something that was burning inside of you to share with the listeners, what would be that one thing that we absolutely must take away from you?
If you're starting a business, if you're trying to be a leader, do it today and fail. Because if you fail soon, you fail often, you have time to recover, learn, and adjust. The worst thing in the world is to sit around and regret the things you thought you could have done.
Mm-hmm.
So tomorrow, jump out there and do one thing every day towards a goal that you set.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. Fail today. I like it. I like it.
Fail today so you can sell tomorrow.
Ooh, y'all ain't ready. Y'all ain't ready for Sam. Y'all are not. So let us know how we can find Massage on the Go or Sam Nelson and what the next endeavor may be, so we can get a hold of those, machines like patent when it gets ready to come, when it's ready to rock and roll. Like, how can we get in touch with you? Where can we find you?
Sam at massageonthegomemphis.com. That's Sam at massageonthegomemphis.com. That's my email, massageonthegomemphis.com. That's the website. That's the Facebook page. That's the Instagram page. Everything is Massage on the Go Memphis. And you can find me there. Samuel B. Nelson is my other Instagram and my Facebook. So you can hit me up personally, or you can hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, or LinkedIn. I will always reply. My office number is 901-275-3600. It's 901-275-3600. I'm always here for you.
So no excuses. He just gave you the lifeline. Whichever way you want to find him, make sure you reach out.
You can send a smoke signal. I find
and see what Mr. Nelson can get for you. So this has been really, really, I've enjoyed every bit of it. I have. And I'll be honest, your message about being a student, like that's what's sticking with me. Like that's what I'm walking away with. It's reinforcing my desire to always learn. I just finished a certification, which I passed. Woo, excited about that. But I'm already like, okay, what's the next thing? There's something else that I need to continue to make sure I'm obtaining. I mean, I'm going to breathe for a second. I did celebrate, which is important. And I'm gonna breathe and maybe find me a massage. But definitely I'm looking for the next thing. And I appreciate you just reiterating and reinforcing that, because we're all just continuing to try and be, our best versions of ourselves. So
that's all you got to do.
Thank you so much for coming on, Sam. And for all of my listeners, thank you for coming on today. As always, I hope that this Lead the Way Wednesday gets you past your hump day and gets you moving through the rest of your week so that you can continue on your journey of leadership. This has been an amazing time. And until the next time, let's lead.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.